All right. I'm now recording for intro.
Okay. So intro is arguably, apart from just a general mindset and work ethic, I don't think there's any bigger needle mover to this whole process than intro. It's going to be critical, absolutely critical to how well you do in this. I always like to think of intro as, I mean, this is a numbers game at the end of the day. I mean, you're doing 100 calls a day. Obviously, you're not going to be closing every one of them. I like to think of it as, if I could put up a picture of a funnel here, this is the top of your funnel, your
Hmm.
intro that's going to, I mean, the only thing that can take it to the next stage of that funnel is how well your intro is. And the bigger that you can make that top of your funnel, just it is simple logic, the more sales that you're going to get. And also, you'll be surprised at how many of these clients are complete laydowns. I mean, this is not a very difficult sales process. I'll be completely honest. I did high ticket sales for a marketing agency before, did car sales. I've done door to door. This is as easy as it gets. I swear on my entire on my entire life, there's no sales that you can do that is easier than selling money to people who don't have money. It's that simple. Everybody wants this product. So if you can just get into the mindset of breaking into conversation and breaking their preoccupation and actually having a conversation with them, that is the night and day difference. And you'll be very surprised at how many people do not object to you the rest of the application as long as you can get through to have an initial conversation with them. So with that being said, thinking of it in terms of a funnel,
Hmm.
this is the only thing that's going to take it to that next step of the sales process. This is only the only thing that you can get better at that will actually put you, in an A/B conversation with the client. Something I did want to talk about even before we get into the intro objections and techniques and things like that,
Hmm.
just general tonality. So
Yep.
this is why even with the script, I always like to explain it to people as this is more of a bullet point list. I like to have teach people to think of it in that way, because if you learn, and by all means learn the script because you need to know what's happening next, you need to be prepared. So don't completely disregard it, but at the same time you want to be developing your own style and your own voice in sales. The best possible, I guess, analogy that I could give is, or not analogy but technique, is speak exactly like you would be speaking if you were talking to a best friend. There is no specific, opener that's going to, blow your close rate up 50% or 70%. There is no specific word track that you're going to use that's going to take you from a loser salesman to a winner salesman. There is no, there's no shortcut for tonality. You just have to be authentic. Now, these people aren't going to immediately off the bat recognize that, like, oh, this person's talking to me like a normal person, right? This makes all the difference. But understanding that these people do have a good bullshit meter. And, thinking of it, I mean, just as an example, if I were to pick up my phone and I had a random phone call from a random number coming on it, and the person immediately starts the conversation off by saying, "Hello, Landon. This is about the insurance benefits that I am giving you." I'm not giving them the time of the day. I'd listen to it for 3 seconds and hang up. I wouldn't even bother responding personally,
Hmm.
and I know most people wouldn't. And so, separating yourself instantly. I mean, literally instantly. As soon as they pick up the phone, for them to realize that you are a real human being is critically important, because the amount of people who do this exact same thing, and 99% of their day is stuck going, "Hello, I am hang up. Hello, I am hang up." Like it's brutal. It's brutal. It's basically like getting the door slammed in your face nonstop. And like I always tell everybody I've trained, it's extremely easy to hang up on a salesman or like a robocall. Very hard to hang up on another person. So the quicker and better that you can separate yourself within that initial even 5, 10, 15 seconds, the better off you're going to be.
So I guess
Getting rid of
in that
what's that?
in that, just so that way I can kind of give you feedback, right? Like when we're running these trainings. Um, I've listened to this training I think now a couple times, and I think the thing that I'm kind of, I wouldn't say stuck on, but I could see how other people are, and some of the issues there is that you have what feels like kind of an amorphic concept, and then you kind of like move on. And I think a lot of the people are just kind of like, all right, cool, like store that in the back of my head. But
Hmm.
I guess what like um, ideally there would be like kind of black and white sort of this is what people do to separate themselves. This is what people, you know what I mean? If we
Right.
don't have that, then maybe worst case scenario we could give them as examples. Um,
Okay.
but like, what is that like? So before you move on, like I guess the next topic, right? What, or subtopic?
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
What does that look
I
like?
could talk a little more about that.
Yeah.
Um, so most important would be avoiding the robotic sound.
Mm-hmm.
The intro, you could have the best rapport building in the world, but it doesn't matter if you can't get past the first 15 seconds of a call.
Yeah.
The robotic repetitive intro is actually it's a very hard or easy trap to fall into, especially doing this type of sales because you're going to be doing 100 calls a day,
Mm-hmm.
150 calls a day. It's very easy to just kind of get on autopilot mode and say hello, this is, and then just kind of deal, all right, next call, next call, next
Mm-hmm.
call. And you don't have the energy or the lack of energy really does shoot you in the foot. So like to give you an example, I'm going to read this script in two different ways.
Okay.
And non-bias, you just listen to it and tell me which person you would stay on the phone with. So we won't even go through the full thing, just this first sentence. Hey John. Yep. Hey John, this is Landon. I'm getting back to you about the request that you sent in, and we just wanted to make sure we had this info correct before getting it mailed out to the house. You're still on this, is that correct? Okay, this is 8 hours into the day. You've already dialed whatever 100 calls at this point. You haven't got any sales. Your energy's down, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you are negative on on the phone calls, the results are going to continue to be negative. Versus, hey John, yep, hey John, how's it going, man? This is Landon. Just wanted to get back to you real quick. We had a request that you sent in, maybe it was a couple weeks or so ago, but just wanted to make sure we had this address correct before getting it mailed out to the house. Now, were you still on? Is that 123 Meadowbrook Road? Was that right? Just that simple change where you just bring a little bit of energy. You sound like you're, you know, a friend calling. You sound like you actually have something interesting to say. Being very self-aware about that is a massive black and white night and day difference versus the amount of time a day that people are going to give you. People will not listen to the first person. I don't care if they are in the or in the worst situation in the world and you can genuinely help them. They're not going to listen to you because they're not interested. And you sound like a robot and you sound like you're just trying to get something out of them versus it sounds like you're trying to have a genuine conversation. People's bullshit meters are very very tuned. Um, you know, AI hasn't even been out for what I guess to a degree of where it's at now, what, 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and we can already tell instantly when something's off, and they look very similar. If I were to tell AI to make me a picture of a car or a sunset or whatever, versus an actual picture and held them side by side, you'd be able to identify instantly which is which. And although they're the same exact thing, and we can both tell what they are, just subconsciously we know instantly. And it's the same exact thing here. Keeping your tonality being very mindful of your tonality in the intro is critical. You have to sound like you have energy. You have to sound like you're a person. You have to sound like you're actually calling them about something interesting, something that you're excited about. And I promise they will listen every single time. If you have low energy, if you sound like you're sitting at an hourly desk job, they're like, why would they give you the time of the day? They get 100 of those, they get 50 of those calls every single day. I mean, these people are putting their numbers out all over the internet. They probably got this, you're probably their 30th call of the day at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna, they're getting called from people in India about their Microsoft support. They're getting called about, in the Philippines. They're getting called about their, expired car insurance, whatever. Their phones are getting blown up nonstop, and you're just going to be one more name in the pile if you can't separate yourself instantly. Which is another thing that I wanted to touch on real quick is breaking preoccupation. This is another thing that I personally learned in door to door that helps a ton. Don't go straight into the pitch. You want to build a little bit of curiosity. Not saying make them completely confused, but building a little bit of curiosity, spiking their interest early on is very, very important for them to actually entertain a conversation with you. And we'll go into the intro objections in a second because, obviously once you get into a conversation with somebody, they're going to be confused. They're going to have some resistance, and we'll talk about how to handle that. But piquing their interest, sparking their curiosity is in my opinion, probably one of the most crucial things to the intro, crucial aspects of the intro. Breaking preoccupation. So what I mean by that is, like I said in the pre-call foundations, you guys got to understand that these are real people. They have real problems. They have real lives. They are doing things. I mean, they're going to be occupied by something else before they get that phone call. They could be driving. They could be on their lunch break. They could be in the middle of paying bills, talking to their grandkids, cooking dinner, etc., etc. Watching the football game, even as not as unimportant as it may seem, these people have something else on their mind before you get on the phone call with them. So sparking their curiosity right off the bat, I've personally noticed is going to be one of the biggest game changers to having a solid intro. Because if they're not, and you don't grab their attention, you're going on the instant hang up, instant hang up, instant hang up. So what I mean by that is, let's say Miss Susan is sitting on the couch, she's watching her favorite soap opera, and you give her a call. Starting the conversation by, "Hey, Miss Susan, how's it going?" This is why the intro is worded the way it is. The original intro that we used to use really didn't do a good job about this, but at the end here is the most crucial part. You're still at blah 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 address. Now this is an address, this is a piece of information that they filled out. Confirming a detail with them, their detail, their address, straight off the bat, is immediately going to spark their curiosity. What is this? What did I fill out? What's going on here? Now they are still going to be confused. You're still going to have to explain yourself, but this is at least you've already beat that instant hang up. Part of the conversation that's gone. So what I mean, just wanted to make sure we had this info correct before getting all this mailed out to the house. Now you're still on us at 123, Meadowbrook Road. Is that right? That alone is going to pique their curiosity. This is the original script I used. I mean, you can be like, "Hey, how's your day going, man?" or whatever, and try to get some back and forth conversation, and that does work. But I've personally noticed that this is one of the biggest difference makers, and some of the leads that you guys or that you're going to be using may have beneficiary info. You can do the same thing with that, but all in all, confirming a detail straight off the bat with them will get them pulled into a conversation. So being very, very aware of that. These people, like if you don't grab their attention instantly, you're going on the hang up list very quickly. So breaking preoccupation. Let me see here. Voice and delivery techniques. Now, this is something that honestly, I think a lot of people do overthink. Tonality. Obviously there has to be a degree of professionalism. You can't sound like an idiot. You can't be mumbling your words. You can't be talking quietly. You do have to establish yourself as a professional, and you'll be very, very surprised at how different people respond to you based off of just a slight change in tone or voice. Let me see, with the intro in particular, this is where everybody kind of they'll start to develop your own styles and things. But in my opinion, and just based off of the people that I've trained, and not even people I have trained, but other guys in the agency who do really well at this, the intro is one thing that they all do have in common. Now, once you get into how they're building rapport and their specific, sales process after that, that's where things start to vary. But in the intro in particular, smile and dial. I mean, honestly, approaching these conversations with a happy attitude and, you know, sounding like you actually have something interesting to talk about is the one common denominator between just about everybody who does well in this. Of course, don't mumble. Don't sound you don't sound like a complete idiot. Don't sound like it's your first day on the job. Sound competent. Sound like you know what you're talking about. But at the same time, speaking to people just like you would be as if you had, let's say, $1,000 to give them. And you're like, hey, Miss Susan, how's it going today? Got some, just getting back to you about this request that I sent in. Just wanted to make sure we had this address before I got it mailed out to the house. Now you're still on, is that blah, blah, blah. Is that right? Just that little change in tonality, speaking to them like you're actually excited and you actually have something to give them will make all the difference in the world. You just, eh, you have to be extremely, extremely cautious cautious about repetition, or just the repetitive mindset and get in spiraling yourself, into lazier and lazier intros. It happens to everybody. I mean, even when I used to call review myself, I would notice in the first hour of the day, everything's going great. I maybe got a sale or so. All of my calls are going to 15, 20, 30 minutes. And then maybe towards noon, I start to teeter off. The initial caffeine buzz is wearing off. I'm kind of, hey, how's it going? Just trying to get in one more sale. Yeah, maybe I can get one more. I'll do 10 more calls. That type of attitude. And it never works. It never, ever, ever works. You will never, ever get a sale that way. Even though I'm saying the same thing, talking to the exact same type of clients, we're talking about the same type of product that I'm selling, and you're getting vastly different results simply because I don't care anymore. Um, and this is, something that will be hard to explain until you actually have call reviews in front of you to look over. But this is the one common denominator between everybody. The people who do really, I don't care if you're doing 50K profit months or $500 profit months. This is the one big, very, common denominator between everybody. The burnout is very, very easy to experience, and if you're not mindful of it, it will happen to you. I mean, I've had days where I've done 6 sales in a day, and then the following day I'm just tired, whatever. I got something else on my mind, and I'll just burn through 200 leads in a give and go. And I'm like, damn, I don't know. I guess I just suck. I guess I just fell off. And it's literally just something as simple as an attitude switch. But if your mindset's right in the first place, the tonality will usually follow. Um, all right. What
One thing,
exactly?
one thing I want to touch on real quick, if you don't mind.
Mhm,
I've heard you say this, and I've said something similar, but kind of different. And so I wanted to make sure if it's okay with you, if we could get on the same page about this.
mhm,
So we're kind of speaking from a united front here. Um, I want to train. I want them to be, and this will probably require, full honesty, this will probably require a lot more detailed work
mhm,
on the script itself. But um, is essentially getting these people to realize that your tonality is going to suck if you have to think about what you're saying and how to say it at the same time. So
mhm.
even though we're not saying you need to read the script verbatim, you 100% need it memorized,
Right. Right.
so that you don't read the script. Because I think what the agents are hearing sometimes is like, oh, okay, it's not a big deal if I don't memorize it. And it's like, but remember, like, we have to build this system for shitters, right? And so
Yeah, yeah, that no, that is a really good point.
yeah, so it's like if we just
It's like a
literally,
paradox, as far as
yeah,
like, yeah,
you have to
yeah, no,
memorize
I,
it
I
so
get
that
it.
you don't have to read it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That
Yeah,
actually makes a ton of sense because
yeah,
I'm speaking for, like, I guess people who are gonna just be a natural at this.
yeah. That's what I'm
Um,
saying. This is
we're
yeah,
gonna have guys on that we'll just give the script to, and they're gonna do fine.
yeah,
But yeah, for everybody else, it does make sense because that's going to be in the back of their mind. That's another reason why I don't recommend people do the application and the sales call at the same time if they don't know it fully.
Hmm.
Just to, like, have a piece of notebook paper. That's what I used to do. Like my first 3, 4 days, I would be talking to the client, focusing on the call itself, and then writing down their info on either Google Doc or something, and then calling them to do the signature afterwards. But I like as soon as I started doing both at once, I would inevitably lose both of them, you know?
Hmm.
So, no, that's a really good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say if we take the time to screenshot every page of the application, they can do it
Hmm.
themselves
Yeah.
offline. Because I don't, how many times did you do a paper app and then call them back and then it didn't get submitted? Just curious.
Um, I would do it. I would fill out as much as I could at the
Hmm.
same time. Usually it was, or I would put them on hold. Um, some people would get pissed off. I know I definitely lost a couple sales doing it like that,
Hmm.
but it wasn't, I don't remember it being a massive amount,
Because the thing,
you know?
the reason I'm saying is because again, you're a natural, right? So then it's like if you're still losing a few sales, imagine that's you losing your first sale on day 5, day 6, day 7, day like, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm putting this on my notes now, but we need like a template for these agents to fill out on a Google Doc. In the meantime, though, but we also I think need to um, screenshot um, every like how I have it in mine, right? Which like screenshot
Mhm.
every page of application and create a um, walkthrough tab or
Oh, I did
agents
have
to.
a SOP of the, I meant to, that was one more doc that I meant to send over to you. I have a SOP of the American Home Life application. I can do the rest of them, but
Okay.
um, that one is, it's basically what you're saying.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. I think that was on, oh, it's on my other laptop. I'll get it over to you, but it's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah. Um, and then, uh, okay, I think, oh, and then in this training here, intro needs analysis, is the doc that you shared just now earlier at like 11:36 here in this show chat, is that intro and needs analysis? Is that the script?
No, it's not. This was just the intro part of the script, and then there's notes following it.
Oh, okay,
So
got
yeah,
it.
you'll see there's intro, and then like there's 3 or 4 sections of notes underneath it, and then there's needs analysis,
So what? So
which
really, what is this? This isn't the script. So like, what is this? I guess for someone who's wondering, like, what do they just like look it over real quick, or what are we? Is this
yeah, I
just
was
the?
about to say it's more of just notes on specific things that help in the intro. Like
Hmm,
it has the script example up top. It's like the first paragraph.
yeah.
And then it just says like there's a couple sections underneath it says importance of the intro,
Hmm.
effective opening, best practices, voice and delivery,
Okay.
objection handling, and then needs analysis. I should put a section. I didn't put the actual
You're good.
script example underneath that, but
So we'll just use this
um,
as the tool to go through the training, essentially.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So is this going to get sent to the agent, by the way?
yeah. We can do that as well. I mean, I have a couple.
I'm going to put here
Let's see.
sent to the agent on the training. Um,
Yeah.
and then, well, the only thing is remember, these are going to be reviews. So actually, we'll send it on to them on homework with like a video like this, right? Not this
Mhm.
video, but something like that, right? Get them prepared and ready, and then review it, right? That's what I'm
Mhm.
thinking. Um, so that way these trainings can stay under sub 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so send let me put here link intro needs analysis. Okay, and this is okay. Um, and then do you have the link to the actual script? Or did you DM it to me?
Yes, I do. Here, I'll send it over.
Yeah, I'm sure you sent somewhere else. I'm just trying to get this organized here.
You're good. I think this is. Yeah, this is it. I'll send the link.
Oh, you DM'd it to me. Okay.
Here,
Oh,
I
oh,
just sent it over.
okay.
It's in the chat right here.
Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, so this document, the actual script, I'm gonna send this to the agent in the training. So
Okay.
that's just like your follow up, right? Sort of ongoing script memorization, essentially. Okay. All right, we're good. If you want to keep going,
Okay.
sorry to interrupt. Sorry, just
No, you're good. You're good. All right. So next would be the application, which actually I want to send. I'll send that doc, or this would be needs analysis.
by the way.
But
So you stopped at you said speak like you have $1,000 to give them. Common denominator between 50K months is people are doing the self reviews and keeping
mhm.
track of their mentality. So I guess where were you going with that afterwards?
Okay. We'll go to, this is for social bank. Damn, where did I put that document? Hang on. I think I DM'd it. Needs analysis. I guess I'll bring up that original document that I sent. That one in the bottom section had, there it is. Okay. So right here, and this is where I want to put like an example of the script too, but for now, that's fine. We'll do this. Cool. All right. Um, nice. So needs analysis.
Okay.
Um, this is one. Now, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier as far as like thinking of yourself as a doctor diagnosing a patient.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's is something that a lot of sales reps fall into the um, really bad habit of doing, and this is why I was so adamant as far as like not memorizing the script because needs analysis in particular, I like to think of more as a series of questions. It's a really trying to pry into somebody's why. Like, okay, why are we even on this call? Why were you interested in this in the first place? What exactly would this money be going to? What difference would this money make to you, and your children or your spouse, whoever? Really digging into their state of mind as to what are we even on this call about. And I don't think personally that the needs analysis, the way that it's worded in the script, does a very good job of it.
Mm-hmm.
um, Mainly because I mean it's a blanket term, it goes over everything that you should go over, but of course everybody's specific needs are going to be different. So really just digging into that and making sure that you don't sound robotic, because this is where people really start to sound robotic. If somebody's like, let's say you get on a call with a client and okay, were you looking to leave some cash to the kids, or do you want burial expenses covered? What was the plan here? And then they say something along the lines of, well, yeah, just, and if I lost my job a little bit ago, and things money hasn't been very good for me. My daughter, she's going to be getting out of college. I want to make sure that she can get herself a good car. Obviously, I don't want to make sure she can cover funeral expenses and things like that. We're talking about somebody's very specific situation. And this is where you can really, really build value if you're paying attention to the client instead of just responding to all of that stuff that the hypothetical client says, and saying, okay, cool, so you're looking for $40,000. You're like, what the hell? You don't even know. Like, that's you're just guessing. You're just throwing stuff at him and hoping he says yes.
Mm-hmm.
Versus saying, okay, so here's what we could do. Now, you have a specific issue with, okay, we want to make sure your daughter is taken care of and she gets a good cash payout. And then, all right, we have a mortgage that we're still kind of worried about. We want to make sure that's taken care of, up until, let's say, retirement. So let's say we'll throw maybe together like a 10, 15-year term, on top of that original whole life policy to make sure that the burial is taken care of. So we're all with those two policies, we're looking at, let's say, like $120,000 of coverage. And then now you mentioned you did have a wife that doesn't have any coverage too. Okay, let's make sure she's taken care of. We can get both of these applications, submitted at once. And does she have any bills that she's worried about? And like really curating a specific package for the client is going to be one of the biggest needle movers in this whole process, because if these people don't feel like this is something specific to them, like I mean, sure, some might buy it and be like, okay, I guess 30,000 sounds good, but this isn't. It's not specific to them. So in the needs analysis section, really, really paying attention to the client. And as I'm explaining this, just a little side note, as I'm explaining this, I kind of realized that I want to redo this, maybe go a little bit further into like a line of questioning, you know. Um,
Mhm.
so I might
Yeah.
I might redo this
I
stuff,
will
but
say, if you want to steal from mine, that's how. Because I mean, if you think about it, right, like an IUL, literally, you're selling life insurance and you're selling retirement in the exact same conversation. And
mhm,
so I realized really early that this could get haywire really fast. Like
mhm,
the you know what I mean? Like as far as how many different directions this could go.
right,
And so because of that, I had to get brutal about how each and every question and each and every statement was said and asked, down to
mhm,
the word and the tonality, to make
mhm,
somebody say the things I want, right? So like at the very beginning of it, this is like a pivotal point. It's like, yeah, some people want to just leave something for their family. Some people make sure that they're taken care of. It's a little more elongated. Some people just want to make sure they have like a tax-free, like safe, like retirement income. Some
mhm,
people really just kind of want like a bit of both, I guess. So do you mind if I ask, which one would be the best for you? And it's like,
mhm.
if we say it that way in those words every fucking time, they will say a bit of both. And
Right,
so, and
right,
then that forces them to go down. And same thing with the NEPQ questions that I have. So if you want
mhm,
to take a look at those NEPQs, because dude, those, I mean, that's literally what call analysis is at the highest level. Like
yeah,
Jeremy Minor and like use like psychologists to develop those questions, and they're perfectly siloed to the point of you can copy and paste them for every single possible scenario. So the exact same NEPQ questions in order can be, you can take those and we did this where on the off chance that somebody doesn't say a bit of both, right? Like the 10% chance that they
mhm,
go, I straight up want retirement income. I'm 30 years old. I don't have a family. I'm nobody. Like I'm not responsible for anybody.
right,
That those people. Then we have it's called a cash value pivot script. So like you click the button, it takes you to the cash value pivot, and so it's the exact same script, but we flip the order. So instead of it talking about life insurance first and then cash value, it's cash value first in life. But all those cash value questions about retirement income, it's the exact same NEPQ questions, just phrased for. So like they're perfect if you want to take a look at those. Like
yeah,
they apply to
definitely.
every single scenario you can think of.
That's something that I realized
Mhm.
fairly early on. That the needs analysis, the way at least the way it was structured in our script that we all used,
Yeah.
I was like, this doesn't dig deep enough at
Yeah.
all, and so I kind of just threw that out the window,
Mhm.
um, and just kind of essentially just kind of freestyled whenever I got to that point of the call,
Yeah.
So having that definitely more structured, yeah. I was just thinking about it and I was like, the way that this is worded in the script is not good. Like I
Mhm.
don't want people repeating that. I mean, it works. Like, sure, they'll make sales, but as far as like, because I'm telling you, like, my closing rate after intro, like, if I can get a call past like 5 minutes, as long as they're approved, like, or as long as they don't have any crazy medical conditions, like, my close rate is ridiculously high. But it's because I don't use the same needs analysis at all. And you
Mhm.
these are points that you can bring up throughout the entire point of the call. I mean, this is where you can really like get to know somebody. And as you're filling out the application, and we're talking about the type of coverage and all this stuff, we can bring up the daughters. We can bring up the whatever the specific job loss or state of the whatever. Like there's so many different talking points that you can bring up during this point of the call. This 3 minute to personally, I like to keep mine relative. I keep mine a lot longer than most people do, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, just
Mhm.
digging in questions, figuring out exactly why they were looking into this in the first place, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be big. I'll I'll rephrase or redo the script
Hmm.
to
Okay.
more of a more of a series of questions rather than just a word for word script, you know?
Right.
Um, okay. But as far as the needs analysis section goes, I mean, that's obviously it's going to vary from client to client, but a series of questions
I will
digging
say
into those.
though, phrased
Hmm.
properly, I truly believe that you can still silo people into, especially if it's an easier sell than IUL, right? Because we're not selling two things, we're selling one thing.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I really, maybe at some point if we have time today, I'd love to go over those with you so that we could just before we get started. I don't want to train people on a script that they're gonna have to then change. Then they're gonna lose confidence in the script. Like I remember,
Hmm.
thank God Cameron is a dog, but we lost an agent because right when they joined, we were diving deep into Michael Molden's script, and
Hmm.
we were going to his trainings and all that, and so we were just there was a lot of just like well, what if we try it like his way? I was just because he takes the NEPQs to another fucking level. Like
Hmm.
it's absolutely insane. Um, and so I was kind of fanboying and like talking out loud in front of the agents, which I shouldn't have done. But then you could just see their confidence, the rookies' confidence in their own script was drastically
Uh-huh.
dropping.
Yeah.
So anyway, just something to think about there is like having this ready would be awesome. And the
Hmm.
NEPQs can straight up not only do a deep analysis, but can also silo them
Right.
so that there isn't like if then this and then if then this. And so,
Right. Right. Um, yeah, I would definitely like to do that.
mm-hmm,
Now, the needs analysis, as far as let me say the script, I want to open up because
mm-hmm,
I haven't used the needs analysis on the script in forever. Um, I just want to remember real quick exactly how it's. Yeah, it really doesn't give you too many options as far as the direction to take the call, you know.
mm-hmm.
Um, so this has a lot of, a couple side notes as far as the needs analysis itself goes, but this is basically all you got. If they're working, if they're not working, fixed income. Um, if they're looking for burial, if they're looking to leave cash to the kids,
Mm-hmm.
if they're not, that's it. Um, and then it just goes over to underwriting. So, I mean,
Honest,
it's not bad. Like it's a decent start for people who have like zero experience, but
yeah.
I I
I
don't love
I
it
will
personally.
say if there's anything that like because obviously I have a ton of experience in a lot of stuff, but if there's anything that I'm like on the fucking shit at, that is script rating. Um,
Hmm.
so I would love maybe if we have time today, maybe we can do
Yeah,
a full script overview,
yeah,
and then I'm gonna go in and edit it, and then I'll run it by you, and then maybe we can even like role play it out together and see how it
yeah,
plays. But yeah,
absolutely.
because if you see mine, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the most visually appealing, but it's just the most dummy proof. That's like
Hmm.
every little like dot question mark, every little comma versus dragging the like I'll put the word supposed to be dragged, and that's just tonality. Then I have like big green boxes for like what you should be doing when they're talking or what like in this step. Uh, and it's just like just making this thing so like just read the fucking script. Like if we can get everybody to do that, bro, um,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, and obviously, we talk about it. I agree 100% that if you just read the script cold word for word, it's bad. But part of the reason, just be real with you, part of the reason is because you guys don't have a fleshed out script is why it's bad. Like if you scroll up real
Hmm.
quick, I just want to show you something so you can see.
Hmm.
If you're earlier in the video, you said, "Is that right?" at the very end, but in the script
Hmm.
it says, "Is that correct?" And so
Yeah.
it's little stuff like that when you don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have it like, is that the best word to say? And
Mm.
is that how to say it?
Yeah,
Then of
yeah,
course
that
it
makes
make
sense.
yeah, then of course it makes like, yeah, don't follow the script. But if it's not like if that's the best word that you could have said there and the best, dictation on the document of how to say it, then
Hmm.
like yeah, I'm just again I'm coming back to this whole like 800 agents, everybody has a different style versus you know what I'm saying? Like versus a
Right.
fucking cult. Um,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And here's,
yeah.
I mean, the good news is, any natural salesman is going to deviate from the script just naturally. So
Yeah,
making that the default, having everybody just a giving everybody just a really dialed script,
yeah.
I completely agree with because
It mhm,
that's how I train people, or at least the guys that I've trained in the past.
mhm.
But I've also lost a lot of agents because they could never catch up to speed, you
Yeah.
know? So,
And I think also too, when you're talking about coaching, this is a big thing I tell people. I'm like, hey guys, like think about it from my perspective, right? When you come to
mhm,
me for coaching, you're essentially coming to the doctor saying, hey, look, here's my symptoms. I didn't close a sale for 2 days. I had this many dials, whatever, right? So if I'm your coach and you book a one-on-one with me and I look at it and I see, oh, well, you've only been dialing 1 hour a day, like
mhm,
then what the fuck are we talking about? Get back on the phone and dial, right?
mhm,
If you're but then you hop on the phone and you're doing 4 to 6 hours a day. Okay, well, effort's clearly not a problem. Help me help you as a coach.
right,
So first thing is effort is not a problem. Okay, so second thing, let's go to script. Oh, well, you're never on script. You say the different intro every single time. You say a different. How the hell are you like? How do you expect me to coach you when every single time you do this, you do it completely differently? And so it's like if you want me to help you figure out what the problem is, then I need constants. If effort is a constant, if schedule is a constant, if script is a constant, if all these things are constants, well then the only variation possible is mentality, like how you showed up. It could be tonality, like how you said it. Because obviously you're not a robot, and I can't force you to do that every single time. So those are the only variables now, and it makes my job 10 times easier to solve for that variable than to be like I'm because and I think like as coaches we should just be like, yeah bro, like I like you bring me all these problems, and then I listen and you're never on script. Like I'm not doing any call analysis until you can just read the fucking script. Now
right,
I can't say that though if I don't have confidence in the the script itself. So I think that's
right.
where like if we start there, um, yeah, with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm,
I agree.
mm-hmm.
We can definitely set aside some time and
Yeah,
rewrite it.
cool, cool. I
Um,
got all these down by the way. I'm taking a ton of notes, so I got like to dos and everything. We'll go over this
okay.
afterwards.
Now needs analysis. Now these are like I guess some objections up here.
Mhm.
So, you know, if they were to hit you with this, then you go to this. Now,
By the way, real quick, I'm sorry. Should we rename this training because it sounds like we're not really like going over tonality. Like I have a 2 hour lesson plan for me on tonality, but it's
mhm.
literally just tonality. So it's the whole thing is just the intro. Um, but like
Yeah, now tonality is one of those things like, dude, I don't even know how I would dive in 2 hours in tonality. Like I just
yeah,
don't, you know.
yeah. One
Um,
of these days I'll walk you through mine. I'll show
yeah,
you.
I mean how I've always thought it, I'm like, just stop thinking about
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
that's not
I
it.
know.
It just doesn't work for everybody, you
Yeah,
know?
I know, man. We got. It's okay. I think that's why we were talking about the
Like
other
just
night, right? Which
stop,
is you're
yeah,
just
just
such a
stop being a
natural.
bot. Like that's my training, you know, and
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
it doesn't work.
Oh, I got you. I got you. All right, cool. Well, I guess maybe then, like, what do we call this? I guess then full pitch prep or something. Like,
Yeah, I guess that works.
okay, all right, got it.
Okay, so needs analysis.
Mm,
Um, man, even just like going over what we said, I don't even want to teach it like this.
mm. You're good.
Because I mean, sure, like the questions. Honestly, can we revisit needs analysis as a whole?
Yeah.
I think it would just be a waste of time to even teach it the way that this is
Okay.
um, written out. I mean, it'll work. It gets people to a decent base point, but I don't like teaching because you know, this is where not only needs analysis in and of itself, like just like the doctor analogy, you know, you don't want to just throw a prescription at somebody because they said their stomach hurts. Like you need to go into further questions than that. Um, this doesn't really help, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because like any agent that we're spending a significant amount of time on, we're eventually going to have this conversation with them anyway. So
Yeah.
we can skip back over this one.
Okay.
Um, okay, what was the next one? So it was needs
And
analysis, and then
and by the way, I will say too, like because you have a style, I have a style. It sounds like I'm the more and more we do this, the more I'm starting to see that our like a lot of the stuff we say is pretty similar. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm wondering if maybe I could even take a crack at this.
Yeah,
But
honestly, I mean, it's
yeah,
not complicated. This is just like it's a series of questions.
yeah.
Matter of
I'm
fact,
wondering
matter of
what
fact,
I'm thinking is like, what if I just use your call recordings to
yeah,
see
yeah,
okay, how is he digging? Um,
right. Here's something that I wanted to go over real quick. I'm gonna send it in the chat. This is now. Let me questioning. There's a specific part of this questioning to where I really wanted to go over. There's a doc that I found a long time ago. It's this whole like hour-long video, and the way that it was explained was really, really good. Um, okay. Basically, well, I won't go over the full thing, but this specific line, it says, with a sales call, you have three priorities. Clearly understand and define the prospect's current situation, clearly understand and define the prospect's desired situation, and then the other part, serve the purpose of building the gap. So positioning yourself or service or offer as the bridge between the two states. That framework or the initial, the whole idea, but approaching sales calls in that mindset, I've noticed is massive, and that's why as soon as like I remember reading that, this is when I was like, kind of early on into this, or this might have been before I even got into life insurance, but that kind of like rewired my mind. That the needs analysis section of this whole process just doesn't make sense because it doesn't. Number one, it's not building enough value. It's not really digging into their situation. I don't even know why I'm giving them the money that I'm supposed to be giving them. None of this is actually curated for the client. They're not taking any of their emotional needs or worries into consideration. You know, that's you get the idea. I don't
mhm,
think I'd need a whole section over that, because personally, I don't think final expense justifies it. Like it's really not that complicated of a sale, but
mhm,
the empathy and the um, you know prescribing the prescription type of mindset when you get into the needs analysis is why I really really want to dig further into that. Um, the next section, what was it? I'll share a little bit. I may make a separate video about all that stuff. Um, the section where are we? Oh, this laptop. Intro objections. Intro objections. I guess we can go over that next. So
yeah,
intro.
one sec here. Let me go ahead and
I
stop
don't have
here.
a document for intro objections. Or I might. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I know I had a Loom video about it, and I can make a SOP.
There was a that policy